So I oftentimes talk about dealing with grief, and I talk about dealing with loss a lot. It is something that unfortunately I have had to deal with a lot in my past. I'm going to talk to you today about losing a loved one, but what's going to make it different this time is I'm actively grieving the loss of a loved one. And I'm going to be talking to you in real-time experience. So my tips and my tricks for you going through this is what I am doing myself right now. So let me tell you how I'm dealing with my grief of losing someone I loved. Okay, let's just get this out of the way just up front. To me, dealing with pain, dealing with grief, dealing with loss, it doesn't matter what leads up to this moment of you feeling this way. The only thing that matters is that you are hurting. And I say that because a lot of times people put labels on your pain. People judge you if you are not doing the right amount of grieving that people think you should. And I mean this because I am grieving the loss of my dog. My dog, Liberty, if you watch my videos all the way through, she's always the last clip that you will see, was with me for 13 years. And that dog saw me through my addiction. She saw me through my recovery. She saw me through the loss of my father, my mother. And she always had unconditional love for me. Now, I lost her suddenly a couple of days ago, and I am hurting. I am hurting so much on the inside. And I wanted to take this opportunity to come to you completely raw and completely hurting and share with you how I am going to get through this. Because sometimes I can sit there and be like, oh, I did this in the past and I did that in the past. But you know what? And why those are valid tips, it's not real life experience. So again, I am just speechless over how much this hurts. But I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to do this for you, and I'm going to do this for me. So here's how I am actively getting through the grief of losing someone out of my life. The first thing I'm doing is I'm telling myself daily, I'm going to give myself time. I'm going to give myself that time to get over this. I'm not going to put any predestined, like, okay, well, I'm going to feel sad for a week, and then after a week, I'm going to be fine. Or, you know what, I'll give myself just a couple of days, and after a couple of days, I'll be fine, and everything will be, your life will just continue on as it should. And I'm not going to do that to myself. I'm not going to put any time restraints on my healing. I'm going to allow myself however long it takes. If it's short, great. If it's medium, wonderful. If it takes me a long time, you know what? Then that's just the way it is. It's going to take me a long time. So if you're out there and you're grieving, give yourself that gift of time. Don't tell yourself that you have to feel better after a certain amount of time has gone by, because none of us knows how long it's going to take. It will happen. You will feel better. Just don't put additional pressure on yourself to try to make it happen sooner than it's going to. The next thing I'm doing is I'm being extra compassionate to myself. I hurt. I'm really sad. And what I'm trying to do is I'm just giving myself a little bit kinder words. I find myself getting really frustrated with myself. I find myself just being like, any little thing can trigger me, and I'll be like, oh, Lonnie, what are you doing? And then I have to remind myself, you know what? I'm hurting, and I don't have a whole lot of patience. And I don't have a whole lot of patience for myself. So when these feelings are coming up, or when something happens, I remind myself just to be like, okay, Lonnie, it's going to be okay. You know what? It's going to be better. I'm just being more compassionate. Now, on the flip side of that, another thing I have to do is I have to watch my temper. I grew up in a household where it was very hostile, and you know what? Anger it's a very easy emotion for me to fall back on. Let's just put it that way. You know, anger makes me say and do things that I don't want to say and do. You know, I find myself, and in complete transparency, I find myself when I get really super sad, really super grief stricken, I find myself almost looking for a fight. And to me, it's just something that I deal with from my past, and it's a part of me that I do not celebrate. So in these instances when I am hurting like this, I find myself like, yeah, you want to pull out in front of me? I find myself doing that, and I cannot do that. Again, that's not the person I want to be. So one thing I'm doing is I am watching my temper very, very, very closely. And I'm not going to let it get away from me. But if this is resonating with you, just watch your temper. It doesn't do any good. It only ends up hurting you in the long run. And yeah. Another thing I will do is I will remind myself multiple times during the day that it's okay to let people help me. All right? It's okay to let people in at this time. Again, a lot of times emotions like this, severe sadness like this, triggers a lot from my past. And I have a tendency to armor up. You know, I don't like to be hurt. I've been hurt a lot in my past. So when emotions like this come in, because there's no way you can stop the pain. There's no way you can stop the pain of when somebody leaves you. So I find myself very vulnerable. And then when I'm vulnerable, I don't like that feeling. So I find myself putting up these huge walls. And then when I put up these huge walls, the people who can help me and love me are on the other side of that wall, because I'm on the other side. So I remind myself daily, you know what? It's okay to let people in. It's okay to let those people in who are loving you, because they're going to help you. And it's okay to have help. It's okay to have help during hard times. Yes, you are hurting, and yes, it's really easy to recede within yourself, but it's not always the best for you emotionally. So if you find yourself doing that, please don't wall yourself off to people who love you and can help you, and just try to let them in, just to kind of soften the blow. And so that way you're not in a dark spot all by yourself, because, you know, like I said, we're already fighting anger, and you just don't need to do it by yourself. Another thing I do is I stop myself from doing any major changes or anything major at this point, until I can get over this feeling of grief, until I can get over this sadness. I'm going to make sure that I don't do anything drastic. And by that, I mean, I will give you some examples that I've already stopped myself from doing. I wanted to gut my closet. I literally wanted to take every single thing out of my closet and start all over, which would have been so counterproductive. I mean, I have time and money invested in that closet, and just because I'm sad doesn't mean I need to throw it all away. And I would have been sad. Once my grief was over, I would have been bummed I got rid of all my stuff. So I stopped myself from doing that. I instantly started picking myself apart. I instantly started being like, oh, your hair, you should do something with your hair. And I love my hair. So I'm like, Lonnie, why are you doing this to yourself? And to me, it's like I'm in a painful situation, and to me, just changing anything sometimes feels like it's going to change that pain. And it doesn't happen. You know what? I would have been just as sad with hair that I'm bummed I would have had once my grief was over. So I'm glad I didn't do anything with my hair. Now, one thing I am going to do, and I've had this planned for years, but I will be getting a tattoo for my dog. You know, that's just it is. I've been saving this hand for her, and of course I'll bring you with me, but Liberty's going on my hand. So that will have nothing to do with my grief process. It's just that will be her memorial. The last thing I want to bring to your attention, and I really hope you're not doing this because I've caught myself doing this, and again, it doesn't do anybody any good, but don't start playing the games of what ifs. What if I had done this? Or what happened? You know, what would have happened if this would have happened? What if I had said this? What if I had acted like that? You know, it doesn't do you any good. It doesn't do you any good, and it only causes you harm. I say that out of experience because those voices are what leads me to not being sober. So I am very, very, very aware of those voices. And I tell you what, once I got sad and my defenses kind of dropped a little bit, they just came charging right at me. Now, I've been sober for a really long time, and I was expecting it. I was waiting for it, so it didn't catch me off guard too much. But listen to those voices in your head and make sure that they're telling you things that are true and kind. What ifs won't bring anything back. You know, should I, could I, would I? The only thing it's going to do is hurt you, and it's only going to make your healing process longer. So make sure, again, that those voices in your head are telling you kind, compassionate things, and just keep them at bay. Side note, if you find the voices in your head are getting really loud and you don't like them, make sure that you're keeping yourself busy. Idle time is the worst time for that kind of self-talk. So if you have to, start going for walks, go for a run, go to the movies, just do something until you can get those voices under control, because in the long run, it's going to help you the most. So I have to tell you, I haven't felt pain like this in a long time. I haven't felt pain like this since my mother passed away. And yes, while I knew that Liberty was old, she got taken very quickly. We woke up Sunday morning and she was fine, and we had to make the best decision for her by Sunday night. And it's just, like I said, it's something that I actively am trying to process still. And again, what a unique way for me to be able to share with you tips for dealing with loss and pain when I'm actually experiencing them myself. So I wanted to take this moment to not only try to help myself heal, but to try to help anybody who might be experiencing the same thing. Now, I mentioned this very briefly in the beginning, and I am going to reiterate on it just a little bit more. But to me, pain is pain and grief is grief. And it doesn't matter what it is. We put way too many labels on how we feel as it is. It doesn't matter what has led you up to this moment of pain. It only matters that you're here. So as always, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I did take a couple of days off to give myself time to put my thoughts in order. And I'm glad to be back. I've missed doing my daily content with y'all. But I'm glad I'm back. And if you enjoyed today's episode, by all means, please hit that like button. If you like, stick around and see what life is going to throw at me and see what I'm going to talk about next, you can hit subscribe. If you would like to leave any comments, perhaps what you're going through, how you deal with pain, your comments actually help me and can help somebody else also. I always say, if you'd like to follow me on any of my social media links, those are all listed down below. And until next time, please know how much I absolutely adore having you in my life. You have helped me in so many ways that I just want to tell you thank you. So this episode is dedicated to my Liberty, and we will get through this together. And until next time, I will see you on the next episode.